Hey guys, Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com with another recipe for you guys. I hope you're enjoying the ones I've already shared with you. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you're watching this on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Coconut drops, one of those tasty treats we have with our morning tea, made with freshly grated coconut, but in my case I couldn't source freshly grated coconuts, so I opted for the shredded variety that's found in prepackaged in the local supermarkets here. Hey guys, here are the ingredients that we'll be using for that coconut drops. We've got in the bowl here about 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, as well as a couple teaspoons of cinnamon. To that, of course, we're going to be adding a couple drops of Angostura bitters, some granulated sugar, some white sugar. I've got a package here with raisins, as well as some shredded coconut. Now, my grandmother, the old school way, she would grate this coconut and use it freshly grated dry coconut. However, I can't seem to source that sort of coconut right now, so I'm going with the prepackaged grated coconut, shredded. We'll need about 1/4 stick of butter, as well as some vanilla. This is the vanilla my daughter brought back for me from Mexico, so I'll be giving that a shot today. So pretty much these are the main ingredients here. We'll be going through. Actually, you can check out CaribbeanPod.com for the exact measurements of each ingredient we'll be using. So the first step is to cream the sugar and the butter until you get a sort of a very smooth consistency. It's going to be light, it's going to be airy, and very creamy. So this is basically what we're doing. I'm using one of those handheld mixers here with a whisk and blade. Feel free to use whatever. If you need just to do it manually, feel free to use a spoon. But this is all we're going to be doing now, creaming the butter with the sugar. Next, we're going to add 1 egg, as well as the vanilla and the Angostura bitters to the mixture, to the creamed butter and eggs, and give that a good whisk until everything, again, we get a nice fluffy smooth consistency. So this is the final product here, the final outcome of the cream sugar, as well as with the vanilla, the butter, the egg, and everything else is going to look. It's a nice smooth consistency now, and to that we're going to be adding that to the dry ingredients. But before we add it to the dry ingredients, what I did, I used a whisk and I mixed the flour and the cinnamon as well as the baking powder. I gave it a good whisk just to incorporate everything before we add the sort of wet batter that we have here. So the final step before we actually start baking this batter is to add the coconut as well as the raisins. Just going to work that in and get ready for actually baking. So now I've added the raisins as well as the grated coconut, the shredded coconut to the batter. I worked it in fairly well. What I forgot to mention to you guys is that the batter was fairly dry when I was trying to put everything together. So what I had to do, I ended up adding anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 cup of water to the mixture to be able to work it in well. But again, it all depends on the flour you're using and the final consistency you get. But just as a side note, I did have to add some water to the batter. So what I've done here, I've taken spoonfuls of the batter and place it on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. Now, if you don't have parchment paper, feel free to just grease the cookie sheet. I'm going to do this in 2 batches with about 12 per batch. The oven has to be preheated at 350 degrees, and we're going to bake this anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes. And it should be the perfect coconut drops at the end. What I've got here is 1/4 cup of water, hot water, that I melted 2 tablespoons of sugar in. And all I'm going to do now is, it's done cooking, it's been about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm just going to brush that onto the finished drops. And I'm going to stick it back into the oven for another couple minutes, maybe about 3 minutes or so, just to give it that finishing touch. Another great touch is after you brush that sugar water on there. What you can do, and which obviously I like doing, is to sprinkle on some sugar on top of it as well.